Welcome back, Sportsnaut interview. And today we're joined by a World Series champion. Yes, 2015 with the Kansas City Royals. That is Eric Hosmer, also four-time Gold Glove winner. Following year, 2016, he was the MVP of the All-Star Game. He's joining us today to talk about what's next for him. Earlier today, on the debut edition of his Diggin Deep podcast, Eric announced his retirement from baseball. Eric, thanks for joining us today and talking about this and the next phase of your life.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm excited for it. You know, it's I had a great playing career. I had a fun ride. I've had some enjoyments and each stop that I was in, and especially the last couple parts of my career where I got to experience some big time markets and get to just experience the day to day from a lot of players that I really enjoyed playing against and really admired, and just to get to see their routine and their process every day. It was fun. So it was a fun ride for me, man. It was incredible, and I'm happy about the decision.
Well, how is it for you too, though? Because I coached competitive youth baseball, USSSA stuff, and the kids and especially someone of your talent who went through their life through that whole cycle of playing baseball for as long as you did. Now you're stepping away from it. I know you're excited, and we're going to talk a lot about what you're doing next. But how does it feel to sort of wake up now and say, you know what, that's gone now after all that time you put in?
It's certainly different. I mean, I got released in I think it was the end of May, early June last year from Chicago. And, I had all the rest of the season to kind of just reflect, get right mentally. I was going through a lot off the field. We just had a baby. So I was starting a family. So there was a lot going on, a lot of moving parts in the years before, and moving from city to city and all that. So, that was certainly different. I kept busy with the kid and the family moving around everywhere. But, I've always had this project with my business partner, Anthony. We've always just kind of been talking about it. So, now is finally the time where we're kind of, putting everything together, and we've had plenty of time to operate all that. So it doesn't feel rushed at all. And Super Bowl's over and we're heading into baseball season. So it just feels like the perfect time to get it going.
I know, always my favorite time of the year. I love football too, but man, baseball, it's in my blood. I can't get it out. So this time of the year, it gets exciting. When you talk about your career and you talked about the markets, from Kansas City to San Diego, Boston, Chicago, obviously your last stop there, just about playing in those areas. I mean, those are all great cities. I've lived in two of them, and it's fascinating. What did you take away from those experiences and sort of that you'll carry with you even into your business life?
Just incredible experiences, like you said. We had John Jay on Digging Deep for one of the first couple episodes that we shot here in Florida, and he was explaining how he got called up to a veteran team at St. Louis, guys like Pujols, Molina, Berkman, and they won his rookie year. And he was explaining how it was different for me in Kansas City. It was a group of guys in the minor leagues that they built from, and we all got called up together. So just a little bit different from his route and his experience, but. Then I went on to San Diego, and it was a different perspective for me because I was that leader, that veteran guy that they brought in, hoping to rebuild throughout their farm system. And to see that change, the first couple of years, just to see the fan base, the stadium went from about halfway full to selling out after COVID when full attendance was allowed. So that was awesome. And then Boston and Chicago, like you said, two big time markets. Get to see how those guys operate on a day-to-day basis, get to see how those fans are, how passionate, intense they are. So it's just a lot of cool experiences that I'm excited to share with the fans. I'm excited to share with the viewers. And, I think it's going to be a unique perspective, and I'm going to get to kind of share my opinions on how the game's going and why certain moves are being made, and just kind of what I feel like is going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting to hear you guys do this stuff and talk about MoonBeam Media, and of course the fact that you founded this with a former Royals teammate. What was the genesis of this? Did you guys start talking about this years ago when you're on road trips or you're hanging out in camp or whatever? So how did you get to this?
Yeah, so MoonBall Media, Anthony and I, we played together in the minor leagues with the Royals, and we're going to date ourselves a little bit here. I know you said you're older than me, so I don't feel bad saying it.
You should.
We were in Double-A, and it's right when Vine came out and all these, quick videos. And Anthony, we all lived in the same apartment building in Double-A, would always make these videos, super creative on all that stuff. And his playing career ended in 2015. He was with the Mets and decided to go into the content world, started producing all of it. And, he's been in that world industry now for about 10 years. And we would always catch up on the road, see each other. And we've always had these ideas of, wanting to tell these stories. And, with my experience, his experience, and now his expertise in this industry, we just felt like it's something that we can do, and we wanted to start executing it. And like I'd mentioned before, we've been talking about this for a while, but really started, really heavily working on this last June, and we feel like it's perfect time and we're ready to launch.
Well, talk about too. You guys have a lot of projects in the queue, but Diggin Deep, the podcast you're going to be doing, unscripted. You guys on there, of course. A lot of folks are seeing some great content coming out of athletes. For example, the Kelsey brothers. Obviously, they've done such a great job with their podcast on the football side. Tell us about Diggin Deep and sort of how you and Anthony, or how you're thinking about how that's going to evolve and what it's going to be. And when people listen, what can they expect?
Yeah, so we're obviously going to try and get a lot of baseball players in the beginning. That's we feel like that's our backyard. We have a lot of relationships with people in the game, but eventually we want to just tell the stories from a baseball perspective, and it's all about storytelling. It's all about certain people on what they figured out on how to be successful, what they use in their routine, their process, all that type of stuff. So we're not trying to really break news and find out if Mike Trout's going to get traded or not. We're just going to try and dig deep into these stories. And, we've had some great interviews that I'm excited to release. We had Rachel Balkovic, who's the first female minor league manager. And I mean, we cut the interview off, or I'm sorry, the conversation. We don't call it interviews, but we cut the conversation off at about 1 hour and 10 minutes. And it felt like we could have kept going for another 2 hours. So it's going to be some interesting stuff. It's a lot of fun. And, it's fun just to share my perspective, share my opinions. And really, I don't have to hold anything back because it's mine and Anthony's. And, we're not really working for anybody. So we're going to be sharing our opinions and just kind of letting the fans know what we think.
Well, you've always been great with media and being on the player side. Now you're sort of that mixture of former player, world-class athlete. Now you're going to be a media mogul. What have you learned so far being on the other side of things now that you're bringing in people for conversations and doing what folks used to do with you? It's just sit down and just talk about the sports.
Yeah, it's a unique perspective because, I always want to stay pro player. I definitely am enjoying this new media ride and appreciate everything that goes into it. I kind of just thought you hit play on the microphone and you go from there, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And especially when we go outside of baseball, there's a lot of stuff to learn. There's a lot of unique people out there that have had some crazy stories, some crazy paths. And I'm excited to learn all about that. But at the end of the day, I'll always be pro player. And it's just something to me that I think I see a lot of other sports in NFL and NBA taking a growth to the player-driven media and then really getting to share their opinions. And baseball has always been, the team first, obviously, and players want to have a voice, but at the same time, don't want to say the wrong things to stir up anything in the clubhouse. So, I feel like I'll be able to be that voice for guys, or not obviously being in the building every day, so I don't know, but I have a pretty good idea on how stuff's being handled. And I really want to bring that to the fans, to the viewers, and hope they enjoy it.
One last baseball question for you, Eric, is the fact that, we saw the rule changes last year, right? The bigger base, the pitch, the timing in the batter's box, all that stuff. How did you feel about that? Growing up, playing baseball, being a professional athlete, I get what Major League Baseball is trying to do, right? They're trying to keep the game traditional, but yet at the same time, bring it into the new century, if you will. What was your takeaway on that, having played a little bit last year under those new rules?
Yeah, I think anytime there's change, players are going to be a little hesitant at first. Baseball is America's pastime. It's been a game that's been going on forever. So whenever there's change, I think guys are a little hesitant. But ultimately, it's all about adapting, and you want to be entertaining. You want to entertain the viewers as much as possible. You want to entertain the fans as much as possible. So for me, it brought back a lot of action, and I think that is something that was awesome. You're seeing a lot of guys stealing bases. You're seeing a lot of action on the field, and it's bringing back the excitement, some excitement to the game. And I understand there's not big changes you can make because it's the game, and it'll always be that way. But there is minor stuff that we can kind of critique and try and just make better for the fan and more exciting, especially for the younger fan, because We're trying to inspire the youth, and I think that was a good start in those rule changes. I know there's some more rule changes or a couple this year that I haven't really looked into, because usually that's when spring training is super helpful for.
Mm.
I actually got rung up last year on a time violation in spring training, so that was super useful because I was not going to let that happen in a real season, a regular season game. But at the end of the day, if it's appealing to the fans and it's something that they like and they want, I think players have no problem adjusting.
Well, tell everybody if they want to listen to Diggin Deep and they want to find out everything that Moonball's up to, what's the best way for them to do that and to find you?
Yeah, we're going to be available on all the platforms. We're going to be posting a lot, and like you said, tomorrow here when we launch, it's going to be exciting times, and I'll be posting all the stuff on my social media, private or personal pages, and I'll certainly be a lot more active on my Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff to really just try and just stay active in the game and share my opinions as best as possible.
I love it. And Eric, you know what? You announced your quote unquote retirement, but at 34 years old, you're not really retiring. You're entering your second career, right? I mean, retirement, I always think of the old dudes with the gray hair and all that kind of stuff. So it's exciting for you, man. And I'm really excited to watch what you guys are able to do. And we will be listening to Diggin Deep.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And it's exciting because it's an announcement. And, I've never wanted to be that guy to write the big post on Instagram saying, "Dear baseball, you've given me everything. You were my first love." So it's a cool way of announcing what I'm doing now, this new project, this new turn in my life. And at the same time, I've had opportunities to reach out to people that really made an impact on my career, let them know where I'm going, what I'm doing, and the direction I'm heading. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm really excited to start being involved in this media world, player-driven media world.
Well, there you go. Eric Hosmer, of course, World Series champion, 4-time Gold Glove winner, now former Major League Baseball player and future media mogul. Eric, thanks for being with us, man. We appreciate it.
No doubt. I appreciate you.